Welcome. My name is Merle Whitney, and this morning we are going to be looking at formatting text for the XDK. Again, we're going to be working between the HTML editor program and the XDK development screen. We're going to start by creating a blank project. And just make sure you are on start with a blank project, and we're going to call the project My Project 4, and then we're going to click on Create. At this screen, we want to say no thanks. We are presented with the development screen, which is the code screen. We're going to take this screen and we're going to make this screen our main screen. And we want to take the code over to the HTML editor. So we are going to highlight the code. We're going to copy it. We're going to go to the HTML editor and we're going to paste that code, Control V, in a blank screen. Now let's take a look at the code. Within the head tag, we have a beginning script tag where you will place your JavaScript, and there is the ending script tag with the / script, and any JavaScript that you have for your page, you will put it between the beginning and ending JavaScript tag. Then you also have your style tag, beginning style and ending style, and your CSS code is going to go between the style tag, the beginning and the ending. Now the type of CSS that we place in the head of the document is called internal CSS. So far in our first session of formatting, we looked at what we call inline CSS, where you highlight the text and you place the code on the text so that the code tags come to the beginning and the ending of the text. We're going to continue using some inline CSS today, and we're also going to do some internal CSS. So let us go between the body tag and we're going to paste some information between the body tag. We want to go back to the desktop and get information from the West Coast beach. So I have two paragraphs highlighted there. I'm going to copy those paragraphs and I'm going to take those paragraphs back to my editor. I'm going to paste the paragraphs between the beginning tag, beginning body tag, and the ending body tag. So I'm making sure that my cursor is between those two tags, and I'm going to hold down the Control key and press the V key, which is the shortcut for paste. Before we do anything, we want to change calm and relaxing, CALM, and relaxing, we want to delete the Y and put ING. Now that's done. We are going to put the first paragraph, we're going to format it with the P tag. So we want to click on the paragraph tag, and as you can see, you now have a beginning P and an ending P. We want to put the second paragraph with a P tag, so we highlight it and we also click on the paragraph tag. We want to place 2 breaks after West Coast, and we want to place 2 breaks after Mullins Beach. And that's a P, we don't want a P. Let's take that P tag out, because what we want, there is a break. There you go, break break, 2 breaks. We're also going to take the West Coast text, the heading West Coast, highlight it, and we want to click on the center icon, align center, and center that across the page. Now, we're ready to go to our style editor. The very first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to put a box around West Coast. So I want you to follow me very carefully as we go through the steps. Notice that I have the words West Coast highlighted. I am going to click on fonts on the menu above. Then I'm going to click on the font icon, which is that triple A. You have a red A, a blue A, and a little black A. So click on that icon. And the tag editor font is going to open up. And then I want to click here on Style Sheet Accessibility. Then I want to come to the right, a little down, and click on the Style Editor. When I do that, that Style Editor icon is going to drop to my taskbar. So you want to look on your taskbar and you see the icon, and then you click on the icon. The icon opens up the editor sheet. And we said that we're going to do a box, so we're going to scroll down here so you can see all the attributes for the box. The first thing that we want to do is to click on border style. We want to choose a style for the border. So I click on border style, I get those 3 little dots, I click on the dots, and I'm able to pick out the type of border I want. We're going to choose solid. Then for border color, we're going to choose blue. For border width, we're going to choose medium. For padding, we're going to choose 10. Now, if I choose padding, it means that I'm going to have padding at the left hand, the right hand side, the top and the bottom of my box. If I only want padding to the left and right, I could have chosen padding left, padding right. Padding is the space between the edge of the box and the edge of the text. So let's see what we have here. We have border style, border color, border width, and padding 10. We can go back and change the padding later within the code if we decide it's too big or it's too small. And that's all we want right now for the box, so we want to click on Done. Then you want to click on Apply, and then we want to browse. And we see that we have West Coast, but we can't see the top of the box. So we want to go back to the code. And we want simply to put a break just under the body tag. And then go back and browse and see if we can see the top of the box. There you go. West Coast. Remember, close your browser window so that you can come back to the screen. Now we chose padding, but we don't see padding here. So we might want to go and put padding in manually. So let's try that. padding colon and 10. And we want to say that we're finished with that by adding a semicolon. And let's put 10 px, 10 megapixels. And let's browse again to see if we can actually see a padding. There you go. It's top, bottom, left, and right. Remember that we had said that if we didn't want the padding to be top, bottom, we could have just put padding left and padding right. But if you put the word padding itself, it takes up the left, right, top, and bottom, but you could choose to do either or. Let's bring the padding down to 5. Let me go remove the 10 and put 5, and let's go and browse, and you can see that the padding is not as big. Okay, let's take care of some of the text using the style editor. And we're going to look for a word, hotels. So we're going to highlight the word hotels. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back to font, back to the font icon, style sheet accessibility, style editor. The editor will drop to the taskbar, and we click on it. And we want to deal with font. Now remember, we had highlighted the word hotels. So let's do font size. We can choose a font size. You have XX large, you have X large, you have large. And just let's click on XX large. Font family, let us choose fantasy. Font weight, let's choose bold. Font style, italics. Let's change the color to fuchsia. And while we are here in the editor, let's look at some of the other options. Just looking at them, you can change the line height by typing a line height. If you click here on text decoration, you can say that you want to underline text, put a line over the text, put a line through the text. You also have text transform, where you can capitalize the text. And capitalize means that every word will have the first letter in capital letters. Uppercase means that the whole area that you have highlighted will be in uppercase. Lowercase means the whole area that you have highlighted will be in lowercase. And those are things that you can choose. You also can change the background color of the text. So if I go, let's do that. Let's go to background color. And this is going to be the color behind the text. So let's put gray. So we have XX large, fantasy, bold, italic, fuchsia for the font. And then we have the background color gray. And we didn't do anything for the text. So let's click on done. And we can see the styles. And notice the CSS format. You have font size, colon, what the font size is going to be, and semicolon to say that you're going on to another setting. You want to click on apply. And then we want to browse to see what we have. So there you have the word hotels, shaded in gray. The color is fuchsia. You can see that the font style, the font family there is fantasy. So you can use the editor to also format your text. We now want to look at what we call internal CSS. Because what we did just now is inline CSS. And remember that inline CSS is where your CSS code is going to go right in the body. You're going to highlight the area and you're going to put the code so that the tags appear at the left and the right of the text. Now, we're actually going to use the CSS to put a background for our text. We can do a background color. We can do a background image. So we want to use CSS internally. That means we're going to put the CSS between these style tags. And if you notice, there's already some style here because we have body, and then we have a curly bracket, and within that curly bracket we have that the background color of the page is white. So that's why the background color of your page is white, and then the color of the text is black. If I were to change the background page color, let's see, we'll take out white. This is the background color, and I'm going to put yellow. And let us browse. And now we see that we actually have a yellow background. So notice where the code went. This code is between the style tags. And we know that it will affect the body because we actually have the word body before it. And we have the curly braces with the code. So let's take out yellow, and we can just undo in the editor to bring back white. Okay, so we said that we wanted to put a background on the sheet. Now remember that we're formatting for the XDK window, which will be one of the fonts. So we don't really want a very large background that would probably fit on a desktop computer. So when you bring in a background, please note the size. Just look at the size of the phone in the XDK, the pixels, and see what's the width and the height, and that will tell you the size that you need. Now, we have background color white, and I'm going to separate this code by putting every piece of code here on one line. So background color white on one line, color black, and I have to end it there with a semicolon. I'll press enter again because I am going to actually come right here and I am going to put the background picture. So the code is the background hyphen. We don't want to put a hyphen there. We just want to put a colon. So we can background colon URL open brackets. I want to put the name of the picture. Now that picture must exist in your home site folder. If not, you're not going to see it. Also, when you're in the XDK and you carry this information over to the XDK, the background picture also must exist in your project folder. The name of the picture is A1 image.jpg. And I'm going to close my bracket and I'm going to put my semicolon. So that is what my picture is. I want to also put what we call background repeat, no repeat. So that if the picture is not large enough, it will not tile on the page. Tiling means that you're going to have, it's not big enough, so it's going to stretch, and you will see that the picture repeats itself. We don't want that, so I'm going to put in a code that says background hyphen repeat colon no repeat. And notice how my no repeat is no hyphen repeat, and I'm going to end with my semicolon. So the picture that I want is called A1 image.jpg. Background repeat, no repeat. And sometimes we can also put background position center. And let's put that in, and we can always take it out if we don't want it. background, position, colon, center, and always end with a semicolon to show that you have ended that particular line for the CSS. So again, let's see, we have the body tag here. And remember, you are in the head, you're not in the body. You already have the heading style and the ending style. You open the brace and you start typing your lines for the CSS. Background color white, meaning that the background page color is white. Color black, meaning that the text is black. Background URL and the image name mean that you want that image to be the background picture. Background position, center, meaning that it's going to be centered vertically and horizontally on the page, and we might want to change that later. And background repeat, no repeat. Now, one thing about this editor, if you do not save your file, the picture will not show up. So we're going to save the file, save as, and we're going to save it right here in the home site folder. And we're going to call it My Project 4 and save. Now, we want to make sure that that image is there, and we look to the left, you see A1 image.jpg, and it's spelled a little differently. If you look, A space 1 image. And I think that we want to rename that file because they're two different. One has a space and one doesn't. So I am going to go into the HTML folder itself and rename that image so it matches what I have on the screen. So I'm going to minimize, and I am going to go into my editor folder, and I'm going to look for that image. Here it is. Right click on it, and I am going to rename it and take out that space. So I want to go back into the editor, and I want to browse. And there you have it. That is actually the size of the picture. So you need to choose the size of the picture that you want when you are looking for your image. And that's good because we want that to fit on the phone. As you can see, the page margin stretch from one side of the page to the other. You might be wondering, how will that fit on your phone? Well, let's look and see. We want to look at a line of code called meta name viewpoint. A meta name viewpoint, content with device width initial scale 1.0, maximum scale 1.0, and minimum scale 1.0. That line of code forces your page content to fit on your device. And that's what we call responsive design. So we are going to actually take this code, and I'm just going to say Control A to highlight all the code. Right click, copy the code, go back to our XDK. We're going to delete what's here, and we're going to paste everything that we did. Now remember, we're not going to see the picture if the picture does not exist in the XDK folder. What's the name of our project? The name of our project is My Project 4. So I actually have to minimize, go back to my app dev folder where I know the project exists, my project 4, and I have to open this project, this folder here, and I have to paste the picture. So let's get the picture again. We're going to copy, we actually have to copy the picture, and the picture existed in home site. There it is. Right click and copy. Now we want to go in the app dev folder, open the project 4, and paste the picture in. Notice by default, your folder has an index file, an XDK file, and an XDKE file. And we want to close and go back to our project. Now, before we do anything, we want to come to the working file area here on the left-hand side, and we want to right-click, and we want to refresh the file tree. And there you go. You can see our image, A1 image.jpg, and the screen should be reading that image. Here we go. So as soon as I put my cursor over the image, I can see that the screen will read it. And look at the size of that image. It is 425 by 380. And when we emulate, we will see if we need to make any changes to that image. So we're going to click now on emulate. And we want to say yes for any unsaved data. And that is our image. And remember that we had the code for the CSS to be centered. So you actually see the image being centered in the page. And you want to probably make some adjustments. So maybe you can make the adjustments right here in XDK. So you click on develop. And I want to go back. You see we here have position center. Well, for now, all we have to do is probably remove that center and emulate a second time and save. And you see that it actually pushes the screen. Now we here are in a 4S, and you see that you can decide how much space you want, because if your text comes all the way down, then the person can scroll down. But a lot of the time, you just want enough information on the front page, so the person probably does not have to scroll down. So for this project, we're going to go back to the develop, and we're going to go in and remove some text. You have to decide what it is that you want, and we're just gonna take out some text here. Or maybe you can take out some spaces, and let us emulate again. And you can see the size of the phone and the picture itself. If you look at the left-hand side, you're going to see that the screen is 320 by 480, and that's the size of the screen. So your picture needs to be able to stretch to that point. You can take your picture into an editing program, and you can change the size of the picture and rename it, and just put that picture with the correct size into your code. At the bottom of the screen, you might want the background to stretch or not, because at the bottom we usually will be putting links, and these links will carry you to other pages in your XDK. So let's just look at what we did again. We used CSS inline coding, and we also use CSS internal. And let's click back on develop. And remember that internal means that your CSS code will reside in the head section between the style tags. And that's our lesson for today. Until next time, thank you for listening.